every person here who came to honor my dad's life and his ministry. And to my mom, it means so much to me to see you sitting there. When I was 5 years of age, before my dad became a public figure, I recognized that there was something uniquely special about him. His way of describing things, his humor, his intelligence, his creativity, his wisdom, talents, and most importantly, his relationship with the Lord. He told me that when he was a child, his great-grandmother said to somebody in the family, "There's something very special about Jimmy's relationship with God." I used to often repeat things that he would say, and people would tend to agree with me because he had a special connection with the Lord, very distinct. And he also had a skilled biblical knowledge that, he was not a theologian, and yet he had that gift. So I now realize that what I saw in him as a child all those years ago was an anointing from God. And it was an anointing that was going to catapult him into becoming a prominent Christian leader whom millions were going to look to for advice and valuable insights. My dad used to joke that he used God's ideas, but he got the credit. Where my dad deserves credit, however, is in the hard work that he invested in his professional life and in his ministry. He said to me one time, "I was made to work. That's how I'm wired." And those of us in the family saw him bring home boxes of stuff on the weekends from the office that he called his stack. And he would sit at his desk all day on Saturdays, going through his stack. And of course, the TV would be on at the same time. And sometimes the radio, too, all going at once. The TV was on most of the time in our house. I called it the eternal flame. Newsmax, Fox News, History Channel, USC game, tennis match. When Dad was home, the TV was on, and often there were 2 or 3 going at the same time in different rooms. Right, Mom? Well, despite that, and given the fact that he was so busy, he always made time for me. When I was very young, he and I used to go on Sunday afternoon bike rides, and I had a little seat on the back of his bicycle. And we would ride to the park, and we would build sandcastles together. And his sandcastles were he had moats and drawbridges, and we would pour water into the moat, and he'd push me on the swing. And then we would stop at our favorite taco place called Tacolita, which is still there, and then head to the Tasty Freeze. Those are such special memories for me, riding bikes down in the wash. Dad had a private phone line put in his office exclusively for my mom and Ryan and me, so that if we had a need, we could contact him anytime that we wanted to, regardless if he had a meeting going on, an important conference. He wanted us to know that we could interrupt him if we needed to. And he wanted to make sure that we knew that we had his attention and that we were his priority. For Father's Day one year, I gave him a little trinket dish, and it shows a father bending down to hug his young daughter. And the words say, "Always there." And my dad was always there for me. On another Father's Day, I wrote on his card how much I appreciated his integrity. And I thanked him that I never had to lie in bed at night wondering what he was up to and how it was going to affect our family and how it was going to affect his ministry. I never had to think those kind of thoughts. No one ever caught my dad in a lie. He was always faithful to my mom. He never cheated anyone, and in fact, he would go the extra mile to try to always be fair. A couple months ago, I was reading an article about Jackie Kennedy Onassis and JFK's sordid affairs. And I read in the article that she allegedly said to her mother, "I could have married an honest man or a great man, and I chose to marry a great man." And I immediately thought of my dad. An honest man and a great man, a man of the utmost integrity.
I welcome you guys back on here. If you're new, consider subscribing, liking, and also share this video. So there was a heartfelt tribute that actually caught my attention, and I had to come in and of course give it to you when Dr. James Dobson, was being laid to rest. There was a celebration of life service that actually took place on the 3rd of October, and so many speakers came out to pay their respects, to pay their own tributes after the passing on of the legend that is Dr. James Dobson, a man who had done a lot, when it came to spreading the gospel, encouraging morality and stuff like that. So the daughter, that is Danae Dobson, came out at her father's celebration live service, and of course her reaction and tribute captured the essence of both his public ministry and a private devotion as a father, husband, and a man of faith. She said that while speaking tenderly before the family and friends, Danae began by thanking those who actually came to honor her father's life and ministry, and especially acknowledged her mother's presence as a symbol of their enduring partnership. She also reflected on her father's anointing as an unmistakable spiritual calling that led him to become one of the most trusted Christian voices of his generation. Still, she also touched on the idea that despite the busy schedule, Dr. Dobson always made time for his family, and he was really a very close family man. With deep emotion, she shared that her father lived with unwavering integrity, and he was faithful to her mother, honest in all his dealings, and fair to everyone he encountered. She contrasted his life with a story about Jackie Kennedy's remark on choosing between greatness and honesty, concluding that her father was both a great man and an honest man.